Hi, my name is Stu Mortrud. I'm with the Big Sandy Lake Association. This year, BSLA is putting together a number of short videos which will be pertaining to boat safety, water safety, fishing regulations, a lot of information that we think our members are going to enjoy. So look for our videos on Facebook as well as on the website. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Conservation Officer Nate Binkowski with the Minnesota DNR, stationed here in McGregor, Minnesota. On behalf of the DNR and the Big Sandy Lake Association, I'm going to talk to you guys today about watercraft rules and regulations, as well as fishing law and safety on the water. One of the first things we need to be aware of when we're going on the lake this year is our current registrations on a watercraft. Make sure if they've been recently purchased that the titles are in our names and they're updated. Every occupant on a watercraft must have a wearable life jacket. Children under the age of 10 are required to wear the life jacket when they're on the water. The wearable life jackets may be stored in storage compartments, but they need to be readily accessible. Please be aware when placing coolers or other heavy objects on top of the storage containers if that's where you're putting the life jackets. Any boats 16 feet or larger are also required to have a Type 4 throwable life jacket, like the seat cushion here that's rated, or a ring buoy. Those are used in the case of emergency, and those need to be on deck while you guys are out on the water. Also, for boats 16 feet or greater, you need to have a working or operable sound device, whether it's a whistle or a horn on it, in case of emergency and alerting other watercraft on the water. If your watercraft has an enclosed gas system, like most larger boats, you're also required to have a fire extinguisher on board. Make sure every year we're checking to see that the tanks are full and in working order, and if they're not, to get those refilled or purchase new ones. Another thing to consider is if we're operating later in the day or overnight, anytime after legal sunset to sunrise, we need to have navigation lights working on our watercraft. You can see here the front navigation light with the green and the red offset lens, as well as a working rear 360-degree white light. Be cautious with pontoons. Often the white lights are folded down and are not able to be seen 360 degrees, and it causes safety issues with not being able to know which direction they're traveling. So make sure to get those popped up so you can see them from the front and the rear. Be cautious also with no wake zones imposed on lakes with the county. No wake zones are often placed in areas of sensitive shorelines or congested areas like under bridges. So just be aware of where those areas are and to slow that speed down so no wakes created. When we're out on the water, there's a lot of different user groups on the water, as well as wildlife. We need to make sure we are going at a speed that is reasonable and safe for everybody on the water. Do not impede other people's traffic on the water, and do not drink and drive, or you're going to be arrested. And now we're going to transition into talking about rules and regulations when it comes to fishing on Minnesota waters. These are rules that are general for the state, as well as some specifics for the lake we're on here, Big Sandy Lake. Your rules and laws may be different in other places and change every year. So make sure every year to pick up the current year fishing regulation book. These are free, printed by the DNR, and available wherever you can buy fishing licenses, sporting goods stores, gas stations, and local DNR offices. Make sure to pick up an annual fishing license before you go out. Anyone older than 16 needs to have a fishing license for fishing Minnesota's public waters. We're able to use one line in the open water season compared to 2 lines in the winter season, so be aware of that. All these rules are released in these rule books, as well as special regulations for different lakes in the state. When it comes to measuring fish, we need to have the proper equipment and the know-how to do it. We want to use a flat board like this metal bump board. We're going to place our fish with their mouths closed against the board, which is at a 90-degree angle where the fish is flat. And we're going to place their tail and pinch the tail to get our proper length of 12 inches there. We see a lot of different ways people measure fish on the water, and a lot of them aren't true measurements, so we need to make sure we have proper equipment so we're not violating any of the length laws in the state waters. When it comes to fishing limits, They're broken up into our daily limits and our possession limits. Our daily limits are however many take during the day. Our possession limits are how many we're able to have in possession. That includes what we have on the boat, in coolers, or back at the house or cabin. We're at Big Sandy Lake today in Aiken County, and for the 2022 season, special regulations for fish on this lake are a daily limit of 5 sunfish. And when it comes to walleye, it's still your 6 total limit, but these walleye need to be 14 to 18 inches in length. You are able to keep one as a trophy fish if it is over 26 inches, but 14 to 18 is the keep slot for this specific lake where we are here. When we have our limit of fish, we're still able to target them and fish for them in a catch and release fashion. Just be aware, once we have fish in the live well, we cannot cull our live well and replace fish that are in our live well back into the water. And if we are having a busy fishing day, just be aware, maybe trying to keep under your limit for a while when you're on the water, because if we gill hook fish and these fish are not able to go back into the water to survive, those also count to our limit and can bring us over limit if we're just keeping a full live well. When it comes to the end of the day and we're back at the access, there's a few other things we need to talk about and discuss before we head home, hopefully with some fish for dinner. We're gonna have bait on our boats if we're using it, and we need to dispose of it in a proper manner. When it comes to worms and leeches, we need to be throwing that stuff in the trash. Public accesses sometimes have trash there, or we need to make sure we bring them home and throw them in the trash and not leaving them outside on the ground or back into the water. If we have minnows and we want to keep those minnows, we just need to make sure we bring clean water from our home and keep it in our vehicle to replace the lake water with. When it comes to lake water, all that lake water needs to remain at the lake, and that's to prevent the spread of aquatic invasive species. And so return that minnow water back into the lake and refresh that bait bucket with clean water you brought from home. And then after that, we're going to take a look at our boat, and we're going to make sure we don't have any weeds on our boat. We're going to look under the trailer. We're going to look at our anchors. We're going to clear debris and mud from our anchors. We're going to drain our live wells of any lake water. It's a good practice to lower your motor all the way down so that lower unit is draining water, and inspect areas around the prop for any weeds to get all those removed. We want to keep Minnesota's waters clean and free of aquatic invasive species. Have fun. I hope you catch some fish, and good luck this 2022 season.
Well, that takes care of our video for today. Hope you got a lot of good information out of there. You can look for these again on Facebook as well as on our website page. See you on the lake.